the lead trainer here at Film Editing Pro, and I'm so glad that you're able to join us. You've made a great choice enrolling in this short training course, and I'm excited to share with you all the techniques and skills it has to offer. In this course, we're going to be exploring a pretty wide range of important creative editing topics, including the roles and duties of the editor, creating the perfect timeline setup, the essential skills of working with dialogue, and how you can carefully sculpt the performance of actors and actresses in a cut to make a scene work perfectly and achieve its primary goal. Then, we'll spend a bit of time with sound, learning how to focus a viewer's attention on what's most important. And finally, you'll watch as we completely change the events in an existing scene, crafting an invisible narrative without adding a single new shot or dialogue line. Our only tools will be sound design, Foley, and a bit of music. As you go through this course, I'd recommend that you write down a few notes here and there to remind you of things that are of particular importance to you. I like to use Evernote to keep track of my notes, to-do lists, and pretty much everything else under the sun. But a Word doc, OneNote, or even Notepad will do just fine as well. Coming up in the next lesson, we're going to look at the roles and challenges you'll face as a creative editor. We've got a lot to cover. Let's get started. As a creative editor, you're part of a rare breed of modern artists and craftsmen. You're a storyteller, a music editor, and a sound designer. You could also be expected to have some level of skill in motion graphics, visual effects, and color grading. That's a lot of responsibility for one person. As the editor, it's important to have a clear understanding of where you fit in the big picture of a film or project. What roles must you fill, and what challenges must you overcome? Let's begin by looking at your roles. Alright, so we're going to look at 4 incredibly important roles that almost every creative editor will need to fill. First, it's your job to remain impartial. The editor is the first audience member to watch a new film as it's pieced together one shot at a time. You'll need to regularly be able to separate yourself from the mindset of an editor and instead look at the film as your viewer would. Remember, good editing is often about empathizing, not only with the characters on the screen, but with how your audience feels. You need to be inside your viewer's head to editorially support the emotions they'll likely have when watching. For example, if they might find a moment funny, you should anticipate that and reinforce it with a supporting reaction from a character in the scene. Then, after the punchline or highlight of the gag is fully delivered, leave that little pause, just a bit of extra air in the cut so they can laugh and enjoy it. Any important information or story development that occurs while the viewer is reacting has a very strong chance of being missed, which will inevitably decrease their understanding and engagement as the film moves forward. Initially, this might be pretty easy. You've spent a few days putting together a handful of scenes, and it's exciting to experience the moments as they come to life on the screen. It's all still new. However, as days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and the versions and revisions really start to pile up, it's going to get a lot harder to look at something with fresh eyes. Below this video, you'll find a PDF called Watching Cuts Objectively. It includes a copy of some tips we've put together for staying impartial and objective when watching your cut, no matter how many times you've seen it. This, along with the other 2 PDFs you see, are from articles that we've previously shared on the Film Editing Pro blog. I wanted to give you quick access to them here, as they directly relate to the topics that we're discussing, and they go into a bit more detail. Even if you've already read them before, I'd suggest that you save a copy on your hard drive. Alright, so your second role as a creative editor is that of the director's or client's ally. It's up to you to support them, to align your goals with theirs, to be honest with them about problems, but gentle at the same time. Spend that extra 20 or 30 minutes here and there to really explore all the possible solutions to a problem, and to never ever settle for just good enough. Who's ever running the show, remember, this is their baby, They're placing it in your hands, and they're trusting you to stay true to their vision and to use your expertise to craft it into something special. You always need to respect that and treat it as if it were your own. That's the mark of a true professional. Third, it's your job to act as a custodian or protector of the actors and actresses in a film or project. Everyone has bad takes, or even bad days. But, as the editor, you have the power to cut scenes in a way that hides an actor's shortcomings and highlights their strengths. Sometimes this can be a tough job, and you'll need to call on all your editorial skills to save a bad performance. Other times, when you've got an award-winning actor on your hands, you just need to stay out of the way. And fourth, you must also fill the role of a master craftsman. So what exactly does that mean? Well, for one, it means not cutting corners. With most projects, you're going to be given mountains of footage. It's tempting to quickly skim it all, pick some shots that seem to work pretty good, and move forward. I can tell you right now, that's incredibly lazy, and at least in my book, it's more than enough reason to get rid of an editor and award the job to somebody who actually cares about the project and wants to give it their all. Take pride in your craft. Spend the time to review all the footage. Smooth out your music edits. Try multiple versions of a cut until it works perfectly. Find the right sound effect for a moment, not just the first one you dig up on your drive. All these attributes are what make the difference between a professional, well-respected, and well-paid editor and everyone else. Alright, so those were some of the roles we need to play as a creative editor. Now, let's dig deeper into the major challenges that make that difficult. To start, every craftsman has the obvious challenge of working with their chosen tool. In our case, that's our software. It really doesn't matter what program you're using. Avid, Premiere, Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, they'll all do what you need them to do. Just remember that before you can become a great editor, you need to be comfortable enough with your chosen software so that it fades into the background and allows you to focus on the task at hand, being creative and telling a great story. A tip for anyone just starting out: don't get too bogged down with learning all the crazy features that your program has to offer right away. Most of them you're probably never going to use. At the end of the day, 95% of your editing can simply be accomplished if you know how to cut footage and audio onto the timeline, move it around, adjust levels, and drop in the occasional filter or effect. Our second big challenge as editors is how to deal with problems with your source materials. Depending on the caliber of project you're cutting on, your biggest footage problem might just be deciding which amazing shot to use where. If that's it, lucky you. It's far more common to realize in the editing room that you're missing coverage of that insert shot where we clearly see a character reading something important. Or maybe the lav mic in an actor's shirt is full of distortion and cloth rustling, ruining the audio on a key dialogue bite. Or maybe the footage lacks any strong shots to use for opening the scene, or for transitioning out of it. These are the types of challenges you're going to face every day as an editor. Challenge number 3. Dealing with notes and opinions. Filmmaking is a very collaborative process. You've got a huge number of people all working toward the same goal. Editing, on the other hand, can feel a bit more like a solo endeavor. After all, you're locked in a dark room, usually by yourself, with the entire project seemingly under your control. Well, don't be misled. The editing process is still a team sport. You've got the director, the producers, clients, actors, and focus groups, all with opinions and suggestions on how to make the final product the best it can be. You need to be open to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, the editor isn't always right. Now, version 1, usually that's yours. Take your knowledge of story, the director's vision, the goal of the project, and confidently cut something to the best of your ability. Trust your gut here, have an opinion, and offer your unique perspective as you carefully piece everything together. After version 1 though, be prepared for feedback. It's arrogant to think that you're hitting home runs every single time on version 1, so there's a decent chance that notes are actually going to improve the cut. One of the hardest parts about dealing with notes isn't the actual execution of the changes. It's continuing to care about them when you're on version 25 35, or even 45. I can tell you from experience, though, that one of the marks of a true professional is that you approach your cut with the same passion, care, and craftsmanship on version 45 as you did on version 1. Below this video, you'll see another PDF called Director and Client Notes. In it, we dive deeper into suggestions on how to handle director and client notes professionally, and how to make sure you don't end up misinterpreting them and chasing your tail for 2 hours. Make sure you give it a read and save a copy on your hard drive for reference. Alright, Challenge 4. Dealing with tight deadlines and pressure. Editing is hard enough as it is. Editing under pressure is infinitely harder. When you find yourself loaded with a mountain of work and a short amount of time to do it, most people will probably do one of two things. Either they'll start working faster, or they'll panic and freeze. Panicking is obviously a massive problem, and you'll just need to get past that. That much is obvious. But believe it or not, working faster can be just as much of a curse. Every client or director wants to work with a fast editor. But what exactly does fast mean? Well, it could mean that you're quick on the keyboard or the mouse. You've mastered your software, and you know how to manipulate your footage and audio at a rapid-fire pace. That's all great, as long as you're simultaneously making the right editorial decisions. Which brings us to the second type of fast. The best, fastest editors might not be a hot shot on the keyboard, but at the end of the day, their cut is successfully completed on or ahead of time because they have the experience and the foresight to make smart editorial choices and get most things right the first time, or at least the second. All the frantic, lightning-fast decisions and haphazard edits don't mean a thing when you realize it doesn't work and you have to hit undo 97 times. Below this video is another PDF. This one is called Deadlines and Pressure. In it, we lay out some specific tips for dealing with tight deadlines and how to stay focused under pressure, like when you've got 4 people sitting behind you and watching over your shoulder while you work. In this lesson, we discuss the various roles you must play and challenges you'll need to face if you want to be a successful creative editor. Some of the roles we talked about included that of being an impartial viewer, staying objective, and watching your cut through the eyes of your audience. Next, we reviewed how and why you need to be your director or client's ally and support their vision with your skill and knowledge. Then, we explored your role as actor custodian, molding and shaping their performance to protect their integrity and cast them in the best light possible. And we discussed the editor as a master craftsman, and we talked a bit about how that will affect your workflow and decisions as you're cutting. And finally, we also reviewed some of the toughest challenges you'll face as a creative editor, not all of them technical, including dealing with software, problems with sources, receiving notes, and facing high-pressure situations and deadlines. Coming up in the next lesson, we're going to start digging into the nitty-gritty details of being a creative editor by showing you how to design the perfect timeline setup. Alright, I'll see you in a bit.